Sure, sure. It sounds good on Discord. Let me check the YouTube.
I'm checking stream now. We don't. Sorry to interrupt. We don't hear you on the stream at all. No. We're having technical difficulties, but we'll be with you shortly.
Because of the Xbox thing. Is that better? Okay, can you guys hear me now? I am seeing a higher level.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. So, yeah, when you plug in an Xbox controller into your PC, it turns out it auto-detects that mic, and it's like, let's use that as your microphone. Okay, so if you didn't hear the intro, sorry about that. Welcome back. We are Script Camp. We're doing Pilot Bootcamp. We've been doing these for 2 years. We go from idea to finished draft of a new script in 6 weeks, or in 8 weeks for the feature. We have so much stuff that we're just announcing right now. This is all the huge upcoming slate of classes. So that's going to be on Fridays from 6 to 8. We are running this program, Pilot Writing, until you finish that draft. That is going to be at the end of our 6 weeks. So we start out with a couple free public classes, and then we move into classes for our members only. So if you aren't a member yet and you want to subscribe and attend all of these great events, everything from breaking the story, writing great scenes, crash course on writing one-sheets, which is a new class we're adding this time, so one-page summaries and synopses of your scripts, which are used for all kinds of stuff. Cast of characters, finale, and stinger, which is another new class on just finale and stinger, which is the tag at the very end of the show. And then last, we've also added another new free class called Pitching Your TV Show, which will be a pitch workshop that is centered around presentation of your idea, your pilot logline, your series logline, basic stuff like that, and then maybe taking us through the story of like your pilot episode. Okay, and then we have Feature Bootcamp that's moved to Sundays, 11 to 1. That's a new time. So previously we've run that 10 to noon. We've moved it up 1 hour, or forward 1 hour. So that's going to be running Sundays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time for the next 8 weeks. So starting on the 9th, that's in 2 days, we have this first class, the intro overview class called What Makes a Great Script. We have a logline workshop the following week, and then we go directly into the member classes. Writing great scenes, crash course in one-sheets. We're doing one-sheets for pilot and also one-sheets for features. Exploiting premise, which is another new class, and the pressure cooker, which is another new section that's focusing exclusively on escalation as this kind of like rapidly heating box that your characters are in. This oven, if you will, that is going to be adding pressure and difficulty and stakes to their journey as it proceeds. We then have we are capping that one off with a new class on subplots for movies as well. Then you can see we have over on WordCamp our 90-day novel class that runs 12 to 2 on Saturdays. Our first 2 classes are free. That Write a Novel 90 Days and First Pages classes are going to be open to absolutely everybody. And then afterwards, we're moving right into POV, heroes, villains, and sidekicks, dialogue, conflict, subplots, character arcs, set pieces, all kinds of stuff that you can see on this list. That's all going to be in that same time slot from 12 to 2 on WordCamp for quite a while. So you can see that there's almost every single week there's a WordCamp class to be found. Okay, WordCamp is part of our Skill Camp tree of servers that are all part of Skill Camp, which is a nonprofit that offers free and low-cost classes to learn new skills and reach your life goals. We have lots of free classes, table reads, script swaps, and writers groups, and some for our supporting members as well. So if you want to proceed past those first few free preview kind of weeks and keep going with a bootcamp all the way to finishing a script, then signing up is the best way to do that. If you just want to take the free classes, there's still plenty that look at all the free ones just coming up. That's like 8 hours of free classes. And that's just this month alone. So we have plenty of free stuff and plenty of just community workshops, reads, script swaps, and plenty of other events along those lines to keep you engaged, getting feedback, meeting other writers, working with other writers, and improving your skills. This is not exactly a place where a server community to go to where you're like, how do I write the script that's going to sell and make me millions of dollars? But this is a place to go to gradually start increasing your skills and building your network and putting you on the road towards being a professional writer. There's no shortcuts. There's no secret tricks, but we are taking you through the hard work until you can build up those skills and put the laps in to build up the muscles that you need to in all the different aspects of feature and TV writing and novel writing. So I'm Connor. I've been writing scripts 12 years. Launchpad top 10, nickel quarterfinal, nickel semifinal. Have set up scripts in town. Recently, well, don't think I can announce it yet, but I might have some other announcements for screenwriting stuff very soon. Seems like it's moving forward, so I might have movie announcements within the next weeks. And I'm teaching the Bootcamps and Writers Lab that is covering topics like feature, TV, and novels. And here and there I also teach other classes where I can on our other servers. We have table reads 3 times a week. New Friday and Saturday night sessions. The times for these are Sunday 2 p.m., Friday 8 p.m., and Saturday 6 a.m., which might sound crazy, but that's for our international users. We have unlimited from just $19 a month if you buy the yearly option, or if you subscribe for the yearly option. And we have a bunch of other classes and different topics coming up, not just on my servers, not just my classes on Word and Script Camp, but also Code Camp classes coming up June 27th, coding and accessibility and UI design on Code Camp, and then coding Discord bots on July 25th. Both are 7 a.m. Pacific time, maybe a little easier for East Coast in that case. We have getting started in Premiere and Resolve. That date has passed, so I think we are rescheduled. That one has been rescheduled. Maybe Nacho can update us on that. Is there an updated date on that one?
Which class?
The Premiere and Resolve editing?
No, sorry, that's incorrect. That's the older
No
date.
problem.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, guys. Yep, that one is rescheduled. We don't have a new date for it yet. But in any case, we already announced the pilots, which is going to be this slot on Fridays, features, which is going to be Sundays 11 to 1, and novels from 12 to 2. That's my main classes. Okay, so please sign up if you're interested in taking all of these, because your Script Camp subscription gives you access to everything on all of these servers, not just Script Camp, but on Film Camp, Creator, Toon, Word, Design, Code, Lingo, AI, and Game Camp, which are some of the new ones that we've added focused on things like game design. There's a poll in the chat. If you check that chat window by clicking that white word bubble in Classroom, that will open up that pane on the right-hand side of your screen. You can find a poll that you can click on the numbers to indicate which one, if any of these classes you're interested in, or if you have questions about them. Okay, so let's check today's overview. Today is week 0, Art of Writing Pilots, so we're going to be talking broad overview of the entire thing, or like a far away bird's eye view of the entire process. And we will have that we usually devote most of the second hour to workshopping premises for your guys' shows, which means that if you already have that really solid idea of what you want to do, what you want to write for your show, now's a good time to get feedback on your loglines. If you don't have loglines ready or have never written one before or anything like this, you can also just be thinking of, brainstorming what the idea for your show might be, and answering some of these basic fill-in-the-blank questions that we're going to be trying to nail down by the end of today if you can. If you can't, then the official week 1 is actually next week. This is like a preview if you want to get a little head start, get your questions answered, and get some early feedback on your idea. So if you want to just a look ahead at just the basic things that we're going to be trying to fill out, we want to answer these questions by the end of today if you are able to. That's going to start with title, genre, format and time slot, and comps. So if you can only do those, then that's great. If you can work forward into your pilot and series loglines, then you're free to do that, but it's not overall the focus of today's class. We're going to try to finalize those next week, or we're going to try to work towards finalizing those next week. They are basically they need to be done by the end of our week 1, because then we're moving right ahead into outlining and things like that. So you basically have 2 weeks to nail your logline down, which should be plenty of time. And you can have a couple of additional versions of it, or a couple different variants or ideas, or you can come up with more comps than you need, or things like that. It's at an early stage right now, so nothing needs to be set in stone, and nothing needs to be perfect. And even once it's done, chances are it just won't be perfect. Scripts don't really get like perfect in that way that you might be thinking. So there is a point of diminishing returns when it comes to working on any script, and that point for I would say for features is about 6 months, and for pilots it's shorter. It's more like 3 or 4 months. Like, you should typically try to adjust your process till you're at the point where you can be writing and finishing a feature with revisions within 6 months, and writing and finishing a pilot with revisions within 3 or 4 months. Maybe 3 on the half-hour side, and we'll say 4 on the hour-long side, just to make up a number, right? But think of how much entertainment you're actually making here. Pilot is supposed to be half an hour or a full hour. You can't be spending years making half an hour of written entertainment, at least. If you're a dancer or something like that, or you're doing orchestra or something along those lines, maybe it does take a year to come up with an hour's worth of entertainment. But in any case, with us it doesn't. Scripts are written typically pretty quickly, and if you want to do this professionally, you're going to be writing first drafts at least within 8 to 12 weeks for features. So you'll have a little less time for a short pilot and a little more time for other stuff. But in any case, 8 to 12 weeks. That's like 2 to 3 months for the whole substantial first draft. With revisions, it goes beyond that, and depending on the steps in your deal and things like that, it can go on for a few months more. But in general, people are not writing one script for more than 6 months in the kind of professional sphere. There are exceptions here and there, but for the most part, you want to be writing, adjusting your process to the point where you can be writing maybe 2 or 3 features a year, and if you consider a pilot as half that length, then you can do more half-hour or hour-long pilots, maybe double that, right? So maybe 5 or 6. If you're only writing pilots, aim for maybe, let's say, 5 or 6 half-hour pilots, or 3 or 4 hour-long pilots. These are not hard numbers. These are not quantifiable. There's no actual mandate on these things. These are just my recommendations for your work ethic, that you have to put out a lot of scripts to get to the really good ones, and your first couple scripts are not going to be that good, so don't expect them to. And don't set to an impossible bar for yourself to cross. You're just learning. Why would you expect that your first ever painting would go into a museum? You're not going to work on your first ever painting until it gets of museum quality. You know what I mean? There's a point where you've just done all you can, and it's time to move on to the next thing. Reading and writing and moving on are those 3 kind of basic cornerstones of how you can be advancing in this career. Anyway, this was supposed to be a head start sneak preview of the things you're supposed to be filling out, so if you want nothing else than to know a checklist of stuff to try to decide on by the end of today, and to ask questions about if you aren't sure about how to fulfill any of these things: title, genre, format, time slot, and comps. Then if you can, move ahead to series and pilot loglines. At least take a stab, take your best. Should we not say take a stab anymore? Is that not PC to say because it involves stabbing? Take a swing. Well, that could involve assault too. So take a wild guess. No, I give up. Anyway, you can fill all this out in your sketchbook. The sketchbook being that kind of one unsorted document of all of your influences, inspiration, research material, ideas, and you can make that right now if you want to. So go to Google Docs, make a brand new blank document, and just call it Name of Show Sketchbook, or I don't know, if you don't have a name for it yet, then Alien Show Sketchbook, or Witch Show Sketchbook, or whatever it is. You can tell where my mind is at, because I'm just shows are about witches and aliens. Okay, so try to fill those things out. We're going to be working on pilots in 6 weeks. Don't worry if it's good or not. Good is not the objective here. We're trying to move beyond this idea that any individual script needs to be good to be worth writing, or to be a project that's worth your investment. You need to be lifting the weights and building the muscles in order to kind of get your abilities where they need to be. It's not very intuitive of a skill to write movies or TV shows, and nobody starts good at it. There aren't really screenwriting prodigies, with really rare exceptions, but this is just a kind of an unfamiliar medium to many of us. We don't grow up reading these for the most part, unless you're in theater, in which case you are kind of reading scripts, play scripts being similar to TV scripts, not exactly the same, but a lot of similarities. Most people don't read scripts for fun, and so most people can't give you very good feedback on yours, so you have to actually do a lot of reading and research, and not assume that since you've seen a lot of TV, then you can write really good TV. because just because you have seen people play baseball doesn't mean you can play baseball when you're actually out on the field. It's similar to that, right? The muscle memory takes over at a certain point, and there are certain pitfalls that you'll fall into that you'll only discover are there when you fall into them, and you don't know what you're good at until you try out a bunch of stuff. So you have to just experiment and try things out. We have a subscriber on our new platform, Kick Glowing Wheels. Says hi. Hi, Glowing Wheels. Why are your wheels glowing, I wonder? Did you drive through some phosphorus? Or maybe you're like Ghost Rider and you have like one of those flaming cars. Those things are cool. Thanks for joining us. If you want to join, I don't know what Kick is. I forget. Nacho explained it. I already forgot. But if you want to join us live in this interactive class, you can come find us on Discord. You can go to our website at scriptcamp.net. Oops. And on scriptcamp.net, you can zoom down here to find unlimited membership, where you can enroll now for big discounts on consultations and proofreads, script coins to use on things like readings every month, exclusive chat channels, advanced lab, and access to every class and every boot camp on every server. So I hope to see you join us, but thanks for watching on Kick, or listening on Kick, or whatever it is you do on Kick. Thanks for kicking it with us. Okay, so let's look at the overview of the entire course. So we're starting today on basics, the essentials, and getting feedback on your basic premise, or if you have loglines ready, you can get feedback on your loglines, but they are not expected to be done or perfect by the end of today. Next week, we're looking at story engines, and we're going to give another round of feedback on loglines, so if you want to get 2, then today you'd want to start, and then next week you'd follow up, and you can apply the feedback that you get as best you can and try to work that in. And we'll also be talking story engines. So story engine, that's something we can touch on today. I'll just tell you right now, story engine is kind of this semi-quantifiable amalgamation of elements of your show that make it feel like this would last for years. And it would be characters that would stay together and wouldn't all just go their separate ways and do different stuff. It's like a premise that would continue to be episodically explored throughout the run of the entire show. So it should feel like that's possible, and it should feel like there's enough sort of fuel for the fire in order to do that, because if it feels like just one single situation, and once it's resolved, then we won't understand how there could even be more episodes. So that's what story engine essentially is. It's the elements that contribute to our understanding of what would the full picture of this show be, and does it feel like there's enough story here for either many episodes that would explore one long storyline, much like a movie that's called a premise show, or on the other hand, it would have to appear as if it had enough in the character dynamics and the elements of the world and the rules of the world and the desire, the motivation of the people involved and everything like that, that we can imagine multiple, a lot of different repeatable a type of situation that would be repeatable in many different ways within that same setup. That would be a status quo show. Things like cartoons or sitcoms or police procedurals usually operate under this status quo continuity format, where every week it's a new thing of the week happens, and you don't have to have seen the last thing of the week in order to understand the new thing of the week. So a lot of comedy works like that. There is still some premise-based comedy shows where we have a longer story that needs to be explored. These are more rare, and they're usually going to be something like dark comedy or dramedy. Think along the lines of Barry or Shameless or something like this, in which we're going to have something else besides just sitcomming stuff. And by that same token, we don't really see hour-long sitcoms in the U.S. There maybe in other countries, but we don't have that here. Unfortunately, the hour-long comedy is not really a thing. The hour-long comedy will include some other genre flavor pretty much every time. Okay, so we're working on story engine and logline on week 1. We're beating the pilot, beating it up. No, we are breaking the story, and we are figuring out your story beats in week 2. That's June 21st. And then week 3, we're doing a little different this time. We're calling this Pilot Case Studies, Writing Great Scenes for TV. And you're going to be finishing your scene cards that week, but in the actual class, we're going to be studying some scenes from pilots, which should be fun, with videos and stuff. Crash Course in One-Sheets is July 5th. If anyone's attending for that, we weren't actually 100% sure if the day after July 4th folks would be taking classes on Discord, but last year I think we did see attendance there. It was just a little less, so let us know if you would actually come to a class that day. In any case, from there on, you'll be starting the script and you'll be writing either 10 pages a week if you're writing half hour, or 20 pages a week if you're writing full hour, so you're finishing a third or one act of your script every week. So week 4, first act, week 5, second act, week 6, third act, finishing that script on July 26th. If you are indeed keeping up with the milestones of this course, you don't really have to. We're not going to check to see who's meeting their page benchmarks or things like that. But every week we will just ask for an update. Where are you in the script? Any problems you're having? Anything you need? Any questions you have, or things that could get you unstuck? So that is the big old overview. Who wants to speak up? Maybe you have questions of what we've talked about so far, the overview of the whole course. Maybe you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your favorite shows or writers, or a show you want to write, something like that. You can tell us about your goals or experience level, or what you're hoping to learn. Feel free to raise a hand and let us know. Luke, go ahead.
Hello. I have a lot of these favorite shows and writers. Hi, I'm Luke. I host the Sci-Fi Writers Group. I also am an artist and other things. And I have a lot of favorite shows. Probably one of the ones at the top of my list is Better Call Saul. And I really enjoy Breaking Bad as well. Just the writing, the construction of the story engine or whatever, the cinematography, symbolism, color, all the fun stuff. There is a show called Devs by Alex Garland. Really great show. Really great writer as well.
Yep.
And it asks all sorts of the deep sci-fi questions about free will and determinism. It uses sort of biblical and religious imagery. I don't want to spoil too much, but check out Devs if you haven't seen it.
Yep, that was on FX, so I think you can find it on Hulu.
Probably. And what are some other ones? I don't know, too many. Hitchhiker's Guide, Red Dwarf,
Do you want to
Star
tell us
Trek.
what you're working on?
I'm working on, for pilots, I have a status quo science fiction pilot called Status Quo. That's a comedy, sort of a workplace comedy. And my comps are Red Dwarf meets IT Crowd. So both sort of dry British sitcoms. And then the other one is called Shiko. It's about a sumo wrestler in a post-apocalyptic Japan, sort of wandering the wastes and solving the problem of the week. Still kind of working on figuring everything out for that one in the pre-writing phase.
Okay, so which one do you want to focus on for the bootcamp?
Probably gonna write Status Quo, or try to.
Cool. Sounds good. Yep, we did some outlining on that before. It seems like you were changing up the story a little still, but hopefully you'll...
Yeah, I threw a grenade in it.
That's
but
okay.
I've cleaned out most of the shrapnel.
Okay, great. So, yeah, you have a bit of a head start on that one, just because we've done you've already done a lot of planning and thinking on figuring out the basics. So you should be right on track in the course. Anything you were wondering about, or you've done a bunch of boot camps, anything you'd want to see that you haven't seen in a boot camp before?
I mean, I have a bunch of questions that I'm wondering about, but they're kind of deep topics. Might be more suitable for a lab or something.
Yeah.
Like writing characters that are smarter or funnier than you are, or other topics like that.
Those are great. I love those questions. Maybe we should give you like a regular segment. Luke's Conundrums. Deep thoughts.
Yeah, I'll just scratch one off the list.
You've got a big scroll like a medieval crier.
Food for thought.
Okay. Well, thanks for your update today. We will ask the room if anybody else wants to step up and tell us what are you hoping to write, what's your experience, favorite shows, anything else? I see some comments in the text as well, so let us know in the text or by unmute or by raising a hand, and I can call you to speak on our stage channel. Nacho says his favorite shows: Lost, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, Mayor of Easttown, Fringe, Battlestar Galactica, True Detective, and Norseman. Awesome. I notice, due to whatever the opposite of recency bias is, I guess this would be hindsight bias or something like that. Typically, our favorite shows are going to be stuff from years before. It's always unusual to pick something within the last 2 to 3. I guess it's like calling something a classic, right? You're like, how can you know it's a classic until a few years go by? So it's always one of those rare and amazing finds when you pick a new show. When a new show comes out, and you're immediately like, oh no, that's one of my favorite shows. That's a wonderful, feeling if you can maintain and preserve that. Yeah, maybe we'll ask that question too. What's your guys' favorite new show or show that's on right now? For me, I quite like Dead Ringers on Amazon, which just concluded first season. I don't know how there could be more, but it did leave on a pretty big open-ended note, so it's like, I guess there must be more. And I think they're intending to get more seasons. House of the Dragon only had 1 season. Loved that one on HBO. New season starting soon in just a week or 2, I think. What else you guys got? New shows. What are you watching right now that's airing new episodes? Luke says, What We Do in the Shadows and Fallouts. Awesome. Still haven't seen Fallout. I've played most of the games all the way through, so very familiar. And I've heard great things about the show, so I can't wait to watch that one. What else we got? Blue Eye Samurai. That is on Netflix, I think. Limited anime series, I believe. Doctor Who, says Sarah Bell. Maybe that is still airing. Not a new show by any means, but one that seems to never want to go away. Bridgerton also, yep, still airing that one too. Pretty popular. Has spin-offs as well. What else are you guys watching? And feel free to also say why you like it or your favorite part of it or anything else like that. Anybody watch The Acolyte yet? That one just came out. Oh, and another one, Three Body Problem, I really liked too on Netflix. Weekend would like to speak up. Go ahead.
There we go. What's up? Sorry, I was trying to. Can you hear me? All right, cool. Sorry, I was trying to think of answers to all your questions before I chimed in. But yeah, no, that's cool. But in terms of favorite shows or writers, just lately or for new shows, I've been enjoying Chucky. I've been enjoying Hacks. If anybody watches those, although those have been on for a couple years. But favorite shows, the first show that really got me into like long, like kind of form or like more long form drama was honestly 24. I don't know if anybody ever watched